There we go. Hello, everyone. Yeah, Sheila, it's cold here too. Hey, Paige. All right. Yeah, it seems like it's cold everywhere, huh? Which is not a bad thing. Oh, well, oh, plug this in. A cool 74 here. Yeah, believe it or not, it's like in the 50s here. I think right now it's supposed to get cooler, which I'm totally down for. I like the cold weather. Hey, Diane. Let's bring this. So should I put it here so it doesn't look like I'm trying to, there we go. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Facebook Live on Sunday here at the Beehive. Hope everyone's doing good. Yep, that time again. This week we're going to do a little bit of fun, just some fun IQ designer stuff. The reason I wanted to do this, and I forgot to pull the see now. Yeah, pitch black and 11 degrees here. Yay. I forgot to pull up the picture, but I'll show you all on my phone the picture of what I saw and was like, oh, I want to recreate that. It's really cute. It's actually a hand embroidery. And since it's getting chilly outside, I thought we would do more of a, this is kind of more of a summery design, what we can call it. I just thought it was so cute. I really want to just go ahead and do it. So it has, we're not doing anything fallish or Christmas-ish today, but it is almost Christmas and it is almost Thanksgiving. So that's always exciting. I do have my pillow up right there. And I showed y'all how to do that. Oh gosh, it was like one of the first videos. So you can always go back through the videos and find those. I need to update the video list. I just haven't had time. But what we're going to be doing today is, yep, using a clip art. I know I do that a lot, but it really does teach you how to use IQ Designer or My Design Center. If you have a brother machine that has that. And if you're not sure of what I'm actually talking about when I say My Design Center or IQ Designer, that is a special little something built into, for Baby Lock, it is built into the Solaris, all the Solarises, Solaris 1, 2, and 3, or I should say Solaris 1, 2, and the Solaris Vision. It is in the Altair Meridian. And so those are really the machines that IQ Designers built, is built in. Now there are the brother machines that are brother-like machines, which I don't really remember any of the names, like the Luminaire and yeah, it's just not hitting me. But if you have that, if you have My Design Center or IQ Designer, you can do this project. However, remember, if you have embroidery software, you can create these designs. So don't leave yet, but I have not built or done this particular technique in palette software or any embroidery software, but you could really do this in software. So if you don't have a machine that has IQ Designer or My Design Center, but you have embroidery software, you can always do that. Now, if you have Palette 11 software, remember, we have a wonderful Facebook group called the Palette 11 community group that you can go and learn how to do these different techniques and all kinds of techniques. And so make sure to check that out if you're wanting to learn more about your Palette 11. Now, if you have other brands, I'm sure they have some sort of direction out there that you can learn from. But if you're not really quite sure what I'm talking about because you don't have a machine that has this, IQ Designer is built into like the machines I mentioned earlier. And what it is kind of like a digitizer. You can design in there, and that's what's really fun. But you can also take images and bring them in and build embroidery around them. You can do so much. I mean, a lot of everything that's kind of behind me, I shouldn't say, well, I'm going to say a lot, not all, has been done with IQ Designer. Now it's not going to be a full blown digitizer. So, but you can get things done. It's really, really cool. And y'all know I love it. But you'll want to know what we're doing today. Okay. So let me see if I can show y'all this picture. Let's pull it up real quick. I was poking around on the Instagram, and I saw the cutest hand embroidered design. Now it's not going to be exactly like this because we're going to be doing applique versus the stitching in this. But you could do the stitching in this, especially if you have IQ Designer that has the built-in stitches. Now the Solaris has multiple built-in stitches, so you could do this, but we're going to do it a little bit differently. But I loved the design. So you're all ready to see? See if y'all can see that. Look how cute that umbrella is, the little rainbow umbrella, and the drops. Those drops are so cute. And then Jason brought it up to me earlier. He's like, what kind of umbrella has raindrops coming out beneath it? I said, it's fun. Leave it alone. So we're going to actually take this idea and do that. So let me get back here and I'm going to show you my sample, which is stinking cute, I think, because, you know, I love doing stuff like this. So we're going to do applique. And here we go. This is what I'm going to show y'all how to do today. See how cute that is? Now, normally when we do applique, we'll do one section, you know, a big hunk. But this, we're going to take the design and break it up so you can lay multiple colors down, which I thought was super cute. So we have applique in the umbrella top and into the umbrella holder. Adorable. I love this. I think it came out really, really cute. I used batik fabrics for this one, for the one that I'm going to be doing on screen. It's going to be just like cutesy fun colors. But I wanted to put this in an actual embroidery hoop, a hand embroidery hoop, but I don't have a wooden one. I only have colored ones, and they did, you know, like plastic ones, and it didn't look good. So one that has holes in it. He sounds like my husband. Yeah. He has a hard time suspending disbelief. I am the fairy and he is the very like, I'm like, it doesn't matter. Raindrops come in all shapes and forms and they can go underneath. But I just thought it was cute how it was set up. So we're going to be doing this. Now, what are we using? So we're going to be using IQ Designer to create the shapes or the appliques. We're also going to be using shapes for the teardrops, or excuse me, for the raindrops. And this is built in to the shapes. Also, we're going to be using the fill properties. Now you could, you know, use fills in here. I just left it plain with the fabric. I use fills all the time. I'm like, let's just see the pretty fabric. I was asked earlier, you know, what do we need for today? So if you're going to follow along, this is what I did. Now, again, you can stitch it on anything, but y'all know me. I love stitching it on cotton fabric with batting under it. It just makes everything so cute. So we did use a fill background, so we're going to be doing that. So what I have is a piece, you're all used to this, a piece of cotton fabric, some batting or fusible fleece, and the no-show mesh on the back. And it turned out beautiful. The back is beautiful. The front is beautiful. So that's how we're going to do this. Now, these little pieces, I didn't measure. What I have is I have a drawer that I've kept all my applique fabric after I've fused it to my webbing. And I always I always make a big, huge piece of applique fabric, and then I cut it down. So I have this big drawer full of applique scraps, right? And so I just went in there and pulled out things that I had that already had so some sort of webbing on the back of the applique pieces, because that adds stability and it fuses it to the fabric. Now, we talked about that in depth last week. So if you want to know more about webbing, go back to last week's video. And we talked a lot about that. So we're going to be making this little cutie pie here. Now, like last week, this one's going to take a little bit extra time. So, you know, if you need to leave early, no worries. You can always rewatch this at your leisure. And we have had a lot of new members, so I want to say welcome to you. Thank you for joining our little group. We have a lot of fun here. So earlier on in the group, I posted a picture for you. Let's go back here. Let's see. Let's go. And this is the clip art. There's the clip art of the umbrella. And the clip art, remember, we just go out to the web. We can go to our Google or whatever search engine you use and type in umbrella clip art. I usually do black and white because I don't want anything that's colored, because I'm going to be working off of the lines, not what the fills are. So I got that for you. We've had multiple videos on how to send this from your phone or your iPad, whatever you use, over to our machines. And I'm going to quickly go over that. So let's go out. That is saved to my pictures. Now, if you have an Android, it might work a little different. I don't know how to do that one because I don't own an Android, but I do own Apple. So I'm trying to keep it kind of like this. So what I want to do is go and find, well, if you haven't already, you want to download the IQ Designer apps and you want to look for IQ Positioning. And mine is this little black one right here. So I'm going to tap on it and it's going to open up. Now, since my machine is on, it's going to connect to it. And when you first download the app, it's going to ask you to connect to the machine and you'll go through all the steps. It's really easy. Then what I'm going to select, because I have saved the picture to my phone, I'm going to select the little icon down here. So it says select image for creating design. So I'll tap on that and it'll bring up my pictures. So I'm going to scroll to my picture. It's right here. Sorry, we had a bridal shower yesterday for my niece, Micah. Yay! So we're going to select that one. It's going to pop up and then basically it's going to say send to the machine. I'm going to send it to my machine and it'll be over there for me. And you won't be able to pull this up into embroidery. You're going to pull it up in IQ Designer. So I can just say, okay, and then go about my business, right? So it's super easy. I've had tons of videos on this. So let me get this going back for you. Okay. It could be ice pellets. Oh, that would be cute. Do an umbrella like in, not Christmas colors, like frosty, like Elsa colors, you know, and do like little snowflakes falling down from it. That would be really cute too. That would be super duper cute. Okay. There we go. I got everything I need back over here. So what we're going to do now is we'll go over to the machine and we'll start the process. Again, this might take a little bit of time. If you need to leave, don't worry, it's recorded, so you get to watch it at any time. But this is what we're about to do. Y'all ready? Let's do this. Okay. Where's my... All right, let's switch on over to the camera onto the Solaris. Now, remember, if you have a Altair or Meridian or the Brother Life machine, the steps are exactly the same. Your screen just may look a little different than mine, and that's a-okay. Don't stress about that. The only thing between, actually, let me see how I say this. The only differences are really how many fills and different stitches and stuff that you have in your machine when it comes to IQ Designer. And there's a couple other things that we won't even touch on. So just follow along as the best that you can. And you know what? Let me do something real quick. I have meant to change my bobbin. because I want to make sure I have enough bobbin for this. I've got it right here. Uh-oh. I have already stitched out the fill stitch, which we'll go over how to do that. Just for time purposes. So I've got everything ready. Show you my pieces here. So I've got all my pieces for my umbrella. Everything's ready to go. But let's design first. Now, one thing I like to do is if I'm going to be designing is I like to have a wired mouse hooked up to the machine, because to me, it's a little bit easier. Let me lower the light a little bit so we can see a little bit better. There we go. I just like using a wired mouse. It really does help me help control when I go to do erasing or anything like that. Or you can always use the stylus pen, something like this. This one is from Gloria Horn. I love this because it has the plastic end on it like this, and you can't damage your screen with it. So if you ever get one of these, don't pull this guy off. Also, Baby Lock has made new ones too, which I haven't got my hands on yet, but maybe one day I will. So you can use that to do your work with. However, I'm just going to use my mouse today, and my fingers won't be in your way. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is we've already sent our design over to our machine. And where are we going to find this? Well, we won't find it in embroidery. We're going to find it in IQ Designer. So let's select IQ Designer first. And depending on which machine you're on, what you're going to look for. And I forgot to mention also that the Destiny also has, and the Dream Machine also has IQ Designer. So you could do this on there too. What you're going to do though, instead of sending the design over wirelessly, you're going to print it out and use your scan mat to scan it in. Okay, so here we go. So the first thing you want to look for is anything, if you down here on the screen, it says, if it looks like this, it says line design or image or anything like that, you're going to look for that. If you're on a Solaris or anything else, you're probably going to find this little bitty leaf right up somewhere. It could be here. I have not been on my Meridian in so long. I can't remember where it is exactly on the screen, but that's what you're going to look for. So we're going to go click on that guy. Now, what we're going to do is we're not going to use image scan or illustration design. We're going to use line design because we just want to use the lines of the umbrella. So I'm going to click on that. Now, this is the point for you Destiny or Dream owners. You would take that piece of paper, lay it on your mat, use the magnets to hold it down, and then select scan, and it would scan the picture in. However, since we sent it over wirelessly, and yes, you can put it on a USB and do the same thing, but we sent it over wirelessly, so we're going to select the wireless key, and the very last thing that you sent over is going to always be in the top. No, we can't change the name here. That would be so much easier if it would give us an option to go, hey, this is umbrella number 1 or something like that. But no worries. We just got to know that it's always up at the top, and we're going to click on it, and there's my umbrella. The next thing that we want to do is we want to select set down here at the bottom. And there we go. Now this one comes in at a really good size. I was really excited about this. Sometimes you bring clip arts in and they're little bitty, but this one came in at 8.5 by 8.5. Now we will change that size some, but right now this is perfect. I love when they come in big. It just, to me, they seem to work out better when they come in big. So we're going to leave everything as is. We're not going to touch anything here. All we're going to do is select OK down at the bottom. And what you'll notice when you bring it in, oh, and then if it asks you to hit set, go ahead and select set. What you'll notice when it comes in is it looks really dark. No, let me start over with that. The lines look really, really dark. If I start changing the size, let me just show you some. If I start changing the size, bringing down the line design, we can still see the umbrella shape behind us. To me, that's confusing. So what we want to do is we want to turn that off. So you're going to use, you'll find a little scale. It'll be, oops, let me go back and select that. You're going to see a little scale up here, either here or down here. We want to go towards the lightest leaf, and it'll turn that background image off. To me, it's just visually works so much better. It's not there. I don't have to see it. Now, if you like working with it, yours is 611, Judy. Well, you know, I don't know why. I'm sure it'll be fine. We're going to change the size anyway, so it's no big deal. Okay, so what we want to do now is I want you to make sure your red box is still around it. If you have tapped the screen and your red box is gone, we can't really do anything to it. So how we take care of that is you can either hit your back button once and the red box will appear, or you can draw a box around it by coming way up high, hold your mouse down or your finger down and spread that box around it. We want to make sure that it is selected when we go to do this. Now I'm going to back up until it gives me a bigger box. There we go. So our red box needs to be around it. It's really important. The next thing that we're going to do is I wrote none of this down today. So I'm kind of going by memory. So if I'm like, wait a second, let's back up, just hang on there. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to change the size. And how do we do that? By selecting the size key right over here. So if yours came in at 611, all you have to do is use the proportionally larger keys to change it to 7.5. Now I'm going to use the proportionally smaller keys to change it to 7.5 because it came in at 8.5 for me, and I just thought 7.5 was a perfect size for me. So let's press and hold, whichever one you need to press and hold. And there we got it, 7.41. I'm going to tap or click until I get 7.5. Sometimes it's easier just or quicker to do it like this. Hey, Ginger. It's cold here too. And it's so funny when I say it's cold, I'm like, it's the 50s. It's freezing here. That means we get to bring our jackets out and our scarves out. So I love that. There we go. So you'll notice when you're tapping that it doesn't automatically, it takes a few taps to get to 7.5. It might stay at 7.49 for a couple taps. It's just what it does. Ignore it. Just get to 750 and that's perfect. All right. So if you are at a screen that says OK at the bottom, we want to select OK to get out of that, basically out of that menu. So now here we are. We are now at our cute little guy. And the first thing I'm going to have you do is save it to memory. Now on the Solaris, Laura, so you're going to look for the leaves. I don't know if they're down here or if they're up here, but if I tap on them, if I go towards the dark side, it's going to get really dark and we're going to see that image, but you want to go towards the light and it'll disappear completely. Okay, it's 36 here. Yeah, it's too cold. All right, so now what we want to do next is save to memory. That's very important because we don't want to lose this. We want to save it. And you're either going to see on your screen the word memory, or you're going to look for a pocket that has the arrow going inside of it. Not this one, the pocket with the arrow going outside of it. We want a pocket with the arrow going inside of it. So either you're going to look for the word memory or the pocket with the arrow going inside. If you have the word memory, that means you don't have the pocket with the arrow going inside, and vice versa. It depends on what machine you're on. So we're going to select that memory, and I'm going to save it to machine. So to show you that again, I just selected memory and I tapped on the machine. And now it is in the IQ Designer memory. And why are we doing that? Well, we've changed the size, and if something happens, we have our umbrella saved so we can go back and just pull it back up. But we're going to be using this image a couple times. So the next thing that we want to do is we're going to work in layers, but we're also going to do a couple things that seem unnecessary. They're not, but this is how it works. Especially if you're new to this, you're going to go, why is she going through all these steps? It's important, number one. Number two, if you find easier ways, awesome. But I like to teach you almost the hard way, because when you're touching more buttons, you are learning more about it. So here we go. You've saved it. We now want to select next. We're actually not going to stitch this guy out at all. See how when you select next, it looks all thick, let's say. That is because it defaults to a satin stitch, but I don't really care about that right now. I don't care what it looks like at this moment. I'm going to select set and okay. Now, if your machine has preview down at the bottom, I want you to select preview okay, set okay. If your machine just has set, select set okay. And we're going to see this over in the embroidery screen. So this is where we could take it further and actually embroider this out. We're not going to do that because we have this great little function. And now if you don't want to build a fill around this guy, you're going to skip this step if you make it again. However, what we want to do is create an outline of this little guy. So we're going to select edit, and we're going to look for the flower. So I want to select that flower. And then we're going to change the distance. What you can barely see on your screen right now is a little outline. It's really close to the umbrella. We're going to move it away. And the distance really is up to you. I like my distances from my outlines to be a little further away so it doesn't impede on the embroidery. So there, I'm at like 0.12. You can put it wherever you want, but I'm happy with that. And if you've never done this before, you're going to see why this is so cool here in a minute. So the next thing, mine came in at 6.112. It doesn't matter, guys, when you bring it over to change the size, you're going to change it to 7.50. So it doesn't matter what size it came in, or you can change it, you can leave it at 6.11 if you wanted to, if you wanted it a little bit smaller. It's really up to you, depending on what hoop you want to use or what size you want it. It's really up to you. However, it's what we're doing today was the 7.50. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we've created our outline. We're then going to select memory down at the bottom. Yours may say IQ Designer down at the bottom. Exact same button, doesn't matter. So we're going to select whatever is down at the right-hand corner of your screen. So I want you to tap that, and then I want you to read what it says. It says, recall this design or this outline. It's actually the outline from IQ Designer in the stamp pattern list. Look at this icon. Memorize this icon. It is a circle and a square. We're going to be able to find this outline in this circle square button over in IQ Designer. So let's select OK. All right, so this is what I'm going to have you do. We're not using this. We're done with this, actually. We're going to select the home button and then say OK down at the bottom. So what have we done so far? We've brought an image in. We've changed the size to whatever we like. We've saved it. Then we took that image over to the embroidery side of our machine and created an outline. So that is going to be basically the basis for this whole project. So let's go to IQ Designer. And now we want to recall. We want to recall the umbrella. So let's go up here to our, oh, I shouldn't say up here because yours may be down in a different area. But where you're going to look is for the key to recall the shape that we saved. And that's going to be your pocket with your arrow going outside of it. So let's go click that. And yours may have been down here. Mine's just up here. And look, there is, now you can see that I've already designed, and I want you to ignore everything there. But there is the one we saved a few moments ago, right here. It's always going to be at the top left-hand corner, the last thing that you save. So we want to select that and then say OK. And it's going to show back up on your sheet or your screen, I should say. Oh my gosh, is that bright? I just noticed how bright that was. Y'all might have had, hopefully y'all been able to see what I've been doing. I just looked back at my computer and I'm like, that is bright. Okay, here we go. Let's get to creating appliques. So we're going to do a few different steps. And then what we're going to do is we'll create something and we'll take it over to embroidery. We'll create another piece and we'll take it over to embroidery. Think of this as in layers. We are creating layers. All right. So the first thing that we want to do is, I'm kind of thinking about this. How do I want to do this? Because I did it one way earlier, and do I want to do it a different way? Let's think. Okay. Let's go ahead and do this just to get it out of the way. The first thing, if you decide to create a fill around the design, then this is a step you're going to do next. If you don't want a fill, just hold on and watch, and then we'll get back to the umbrella itself. So when I say a fill, what do I mean? Well, we can create basically quilting around a design, and it's super cute. So where we want to go and find that outline that we made, we have to find the outline first, is back in that button it told me to look for, and that is your circle square. So we're going to go to our circle square. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do is tell it which hoop I'm using. That, okay, Julie, it might have, yeah, when I recalled it, it measured above. Yeah, just re-enlarge it. That's weird that it saved it to that, but I would just re-enlarge it and save it again. Okay, so what we want to do is tell it which hoop we're using, because if we're going to put a fill or quilting or something pretty all the way around the outside, if we do it to, if we don't put a border or tell it which hoop we're using around it, it will want to fill up the entire 10 by 16.5 or 9.5 by 14-inch hoop, and you'll be wasting a lot of fabric. So I'm going to be using my 9.5 by 9.5-inch hoop. So let's go tap on the hoops. And this is where I'm going to tell it which hoop I'm going to be using. And there's my 9.5 by 9.5. How did I decide on that? It's just what I wanted. So I'm then going to select OK at the bottom. And what you can't see right now is this area, the red area, is my stitching area, meaning this is my 9.5 inch by 9.5 inch hoop. Now what I want to do is go back to that circle and square. And I want to go to that little flower that we selected over in the embroidery side. So let's select that little flower. And look right there, there is our outline. It's the first one. It'll always be the first one, the last thing that we save. We're going to select it and say OK. And what it's going to do is put that outline down. Now what I have, and it may be kind of hard for you to see, is I have my 9.5 by 9.5 inch hoop border. And then I have an outline of my umbrella. How cute is that? So I can actually say next. But the only thing is right now is it's going to want to stitch this out. It's going to want to take that with it. So what am I missing? Am I missing something? Let's just save it. No. I think that I've done something I shouldn't have done. Well, let's try this. Let's go to next. And if we've got to come back, I think I just had and then set OK. Yeah, it didn't save it. Okay, so we're going to go back. We're going to go home. For some reason, it didn't save it. I'm not sure. You know what? What we're going to do, oh, I know why, because I didn't put a fill in. Anna, all right, let's go grab, okay, let's kind of start over. So if you're on a screen and you see all that stuff happening right there, what I want you to do is select home and then like this home. And if it says delete, say OK, and then we'll go back to IQ Designer. I know what I did. So we're not going to recall the umbrella yet, but we are going to recall the umbrella shape. So what we're going to do is go back to our circle square and we're going to go grab our frame again. So 9.5 by 9.5. And now we're going to go grab our outline. We do not need our umbrella there. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm going to grab the outline. And let me show you what I did as I went to my circle square. I went to the flower, and then I went to that outline and say, okay, there we go. There she is. Now what you're going to see is just the outline of the umbrella and the outline of the 9.5 by 9.5 inch hoop. So what we want to do is put a pretty fill in there. So you are going to go to your fill property. Now what you have is a grouping of 4 icons on top and a grouping of 4 icons on the bottom or right underneath it. The top icons are your line properties. The grouping of 4 icons right below that are your fill properties. Is it possible to put an underlay in IQ? Or do you have to use the software? Underlay, kinda. And I can talk about that a little bit later when we get to more of the satiny stitches we're going to do. It's a kind of thing. You can tighten up the density, but you can't actually create a layer. No, but you can tighten up the density, which kind of helps with that. So it's a kind of thing. Good question though. Okay, so we're going to go to this grouping of 4 icons right here, and we're going to tap on the little piece of paper, and here we go. We've got our fill choices. So this first one that's highlighted is like a satin fill. It is a fill. It is like stitch on stitch fill. The next one is going to be your stippling fill. The next one, this little icon right here, this is your fancy fills or your decorative fills. So if you tap on that, you get a little screen that comes up next to it, and you'll see the word select. I want you to select the select key. And these are all your fun fills right here. Now, depending on what machine you have is going to depend on how many fills you have. No, I don't know if they'll ever add any. I'm throwing it out there now. I don't know if they'll ever add any to the Altair or Meridian. I just don't know. I'm not privy to information like that. But you still have a ton to choose from. So just find one you like. Now I have the upgrade 3, so I really loved this one of these new ones down here, and it's 045. And what it reminds me of is Woodstock Peanuts. It's like his little head. So I just loved it. So I'm going to select that and then say okay. Now at this point I can choose a color. I can leave it whatever default color it is. But let's say I'll choose a light. You can choose any color to design with. But when you go over to stitch it out, do you have to use that pink? Heck no, you can use any color you want because you can put on any color on the machine of thread. If I wanted it to stitch out in orange, I'd put orange on. If I wanted it to stitch out in purple, I'd put purple on. So really, this is more for the visual. So I'm going to then select OK. And what you'll notice on your screen, and what's really hard to see probably on my screen on while you're looking here, is I see a light box that is my 9.5 by 9.5 inch boundary. And then I see the light outline of my umbrella. So I want to put that fill stitch in between the umbrella and the 9.5 by 9.5. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come back over here to this grouping of 4 icons, not the top grouping, but the lower one. Yeah, I know you can't see it at all. I know, because when I try to record it, it's so faint. But you'll be able to see it now. Hold on, watch this. Okay, so what I want to do is select my bucket, take my finger, and tap in between my umbrella and my frame. So here we go, watch. Now you can see it. Ta-da! There we go. So I've placed the fill where I want it to go. Now, if you use the bucket, it's going to fill up that whole area. If you use the paintbrush, this is what happens. You have to sit here and paint it on. That's annoying. So I just want to do it in one fell swoop. So from this screen, I am done. I'm going to select next. And we're going to go into the edit screen. So with the Solaris, you're going to be able to see in real time what your stitches look like. If you're on an Altair Meridian, you're not going to be able to preview it just yet. But this is where you can change the size of your fill stitching. You can change the direction. You can turn the outline on and off. If you have a Solaris, you can also manipulate the stitching more. The one thing I like to do, because I do have the Solaris, is I can select this button here, and it's the thickness of the stitch. I can make it look more embroidered or more quilted. So I always put it on the more quilted one. But I'm going to change the size of my design by going up to, now if you're on the Altair Meridian, it's going to be down here. Change the spacing basically, or the size of the design. So I'm going to select where it says 100%. It could be down here. And I'm going to change it. I think what I got to that I really liked was 155. You can go up to 200. And there we go. You know what? Yeah, let's make that. I'm going to make that color darker so you guys can see that better. There we go. Yeah, much better. So I loved how big those were. I was like, that's perfect. But here's the thing. I want to stitch out my outline. If you don't stitch out, if your outline is automatically turned off, you want to turn it on, because it takes forever for this to stitch out because it's not connected to anything. So if your machine actually says off in the one that has a little box with some circles in it, I want you to tap it and turn it on. And that is your outline. And watch what happens. Ta-da! There it is. There's my outline. There's an outline around the outside now, and there's an outline where the umbrella should go. Now we're going to be bringing that umbrella in here in just a little while, but we're just getting things ready. Remember, we're building in layers. So at this point, if you wanted to, you could save this. You do not need to. However, if you wanted to, go for it. What we're going to do now is actually bring this over to the embroidery side of the screen. So if you are on an Altair Meridian or a Destiny, what I want you to do is select Preview, OK. Now, once you hit Preview OK, if you're on the Altair Meridian or Destiny, you'll be able to see if you like the size of your design, of your fill stitch. If you don't, then you're going to hit the return button and go back and change it. This is all preference. But when you're happy with that, for my Altair Meridian and Destiny owners or the Brother Like machine, you're going to hit Preview OK, Set OK. If you're on a Solaris or the Brother Like machine, we can see our stitching in the first screen. So once we get everything the way we want it, we can select Set OK. And it's going to bring it over into the embroidery screen. So now we have the background stitching for our umbrella. Now all we have to do is start building our umbrella applique. So what we're going to do is at the bottom of your screen, you're going to select Add. And on your screen, you're going to look for the IQ Designer button. So ours is down here. It may be here. It may be somewhere else, depending on what machine you're on. So we're going to go to IQ Designer. And now this is where we're going to pull up our umbrella. So again, we're going to look for the icon that has the pocket with the arrow heading outward. So let's select that. And we're going to go find our umbrella. Here she is, right. So remember, it's the first one. Don't worry about what I got all over here, but it's that first one right there. And then say OK. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start working on our applique. And we want to just, for right now, use the top part for our applique. So we need to get rid of the pole, don't know what that's called, and the handle. And to do that, we're going to use our eraser. But I like to zoom in if I can, so I can see really good. So you can go to like 400%, and you can see it brings it right up to the center there. Now, if you are on a Altair Meridian or a Destiny, you're going to have a separate screen. I think it's on this side right here. And in that screen, you're going to have a little red box where you can put your finger on that red box and move around the design. For us Solaris owners, what we want to do, if we need to move around the design, you're going to use the little hand up here. So click the hand, and now I can move it around. So I'm going to move it up where I can see the little pipe thing, whatever it's called, and the handle. And then I'm going to turn that off. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to grab an eraser and we're going to erase all of that. Now you want to be careful with your eraser because you can erase things that we don't want to, but just it takes practice using it. So this is what I like to do. I like to select my eraser key. I like the square. You can use whatever one you want, and you can change the size of it. So if I take my finger and put it on here, you can't see the size of my eraser, but if I swipe, there it is. So it's erasing stuff. So this is another reason why I really like using a mouse, a wired mouse, not use wireless, is I can right click and there's my little red box and I can start erasing like this. Now I'm going to get really close to that, but not all the way. And I'll show you how to clean that up in a second. But I'm going to come here and start erasing. It's best to zoom in so you don't miss little pieces. Okay. So now I'm going to take my little hand and move this down. I need to get rid of these two little guys hanging on, and I'll zoom in a little further so you guys can see them. There they are, these two ones right here. And let me show you a cool trick. So if we go to our eraser and we take our eraser on the square all the way down to 1, you can actually just click on each of the little lines and it'll erase one square at a time. So if you have the Solaris, you can get in there at 1600% and you can really see that all drawings for like this type of stuff are pixels. So we can take away one pixel at a time and get rid of what we need to get rid of. Now, this being a clip art, your lines are always going to be choppy, but you'll never know, to be honest with you, because if I zoom out, you can't see choppy lines, right? They stitch out beautifully. So I would just ignore it. And actually, I ignore a lot. Okay, so now what we have is the top of our umbrella. And we've gotten rid of that little hole thing and your handle. So now what we want to do is we want to assign a stitch to this, a certain stitch. If I were to leave it where it's at now, it would be a zigzag. And you can see right up here where it's got a zigzag. That's what it would stitch out as. I don't want that. I want it to be a running stitch. So what do? I go to this grouping of 4 icons right up at the top. I select the little piece of paper, and then I select my running stitch, which is this guy right here, all circled. There's my running stitch. And I personally like to do things in colors. It breaks up all the stitching, meaning that if you did everything in black, it possibly would want to run all at one time. So I don't like to do that. So I just go and I select a color. It could be this really dark green right here, and then say, okay. And I'm going to turn on my bucket up here, and I'm going to take my finger and I'm just going to tap on it. And even though that's a really dark green, I know it's changed that stitch, because look, right up here, it went from a zigzag to a straight stitch. And if these lines are all connected, it'll all change at once. So if I tap on it, I might hear a little knock knock sound, and that's telling me you've already changed that line. I don't know if y'all can hear that, probably not. So there's my umbrella, and I want to keep this this picture. So I want to save it. Oops, I'm sorry. Save it using memory or the pocket with the arrow going out of it. I'm going to save it to memory, and I'm going to save it to my machine, and it's in there. So now this is going to be the outline of where to lay my fabric down for each section. So I want to now select next. And I'm not going to change any of the stitching. You can come in here and change the width of the stitching. I'm not. I'm going to leave it. So if you're on this and you're in an Altair Meridian, you want to select preview okay, set okay. If you're on a Solaris, you want to select set okay. And it's going to drop it right where it needs to be onto the embroidery side where we're going to stitch it out. So this is going to be our placement stitch. If it doesn't make sense now, it eventually will. I promise. So the next thing we want to do is we want to select add. So add down here at the bottom. And we're going to look for IQ Designer again. What we're going to do next is bring up that umbrella top again. And we're going to start ripping it apart. And because where's my picture here? Let me see if y'all can see this okay, if it'll adjust for you. Kinda. Let me turn up, let me fix that lighting. There we go. Because we need to make a tack down stitch for each color. But I kind of figured out a quick and easy way to do it. Kind of a quick and easy way. So we're going to basically section it off into 3 sections and then 2 sections. And in order to do that, let me show you how to do that. And let's lighten that screen again. Get out of the way of that guy. There we go. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to recall the umbrella top. So we're going to come here to our pocket with the arrow going outside of it. And I'm going, remember we saved it. So I'm going to grab it right here and say, okay. All right, so I kind of had to decide on how I wanted to do this. And it took me a little bit to kind of figure out what I wanted to do for each section, meaning how do I want it to stitch out? Do I want it to go A, B, C, D, or I should say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Since I wanted it to be raw edge, I decided to make it where we stitch out this one, the middle one, and then the other outer ones first, and then bring the next 2 or these 2 kind of inner ones in, and we'll stitch those kind of out second. It is all one step, so it is 5 times, but watch what I did. Okay, so at this point, what I'm going to do is erase in between, if we label these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm going to erase the lines in between 1 and 2. I'm sorry, 1 and 3, and then the lines between 3 and 5. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to take my little hand, and there's 1. This is 2. So I want to erase that line in between 1 and 3. Now, again, I'm just going to take the big hunks off, and then I'm going to zoom in and get rid of any little extra stuff. So if I'm going to use the big box, I can just come in underneath it, always come in underneath it and just kind of use the corner of that box to get off any extra. If you start it like right around here, you could erase all of it, and it's just kind of a pain. If you do accidentally, let me show you. If you do accidentally erase where you don't want to, like that, you just use the back button down at the bottom, and it'll fill it back in. So let's bring it over. I want to get rid of this little spot right here, so I'm going to start low. I'm going to use the corner of the box as my eraser and get rid of what I don't want. And this has taken lots of practice. I'm then going to zoom up at the top of it here and erase what's in between the top of 1 and top of 3. I'm going to erase this stuff right here. So in order to do that, I am going to make my eraser smaller. I'm still using the square. I'm going to get in there with that stuff right there. There's one little guy right there. There we go. Now, since I know I'm also going to erase what's between, so this is 1, this was 2, this is 3, here is 4, and here's 5. I'm not going to use 4 right now. I'm going to use it later. So I'm going to erase those lines in between in between 3 and 5. So I'm going to come in here and erase those little guys. And it just takes planning, and if you're designing your own stuff, just thinking about how things work. Then I'm going to bring it down and erase the line, number 4 line here. But I can make my eraser a little bit bigger. I've got more room to play with, and just be very careful not to erase anything that is number 3 or number 5. There we go. Done. Now I can zoom out and you can see what's happening. See? Now I have kind of like an orange. I have 3 orange peel slices now. The ones between our number 2 and number 4 are gone. But what I want you to do now is save this too, just in case. So let's save to memory. And now what we're going to do is, when you create an applique, you want a placement stitch, which we've already brought over to the embroidery side. It's just the whole thing of this, but that's all we need. So we've already created our placement stitch. And then what we do is we lay our fabric down on top, and we create, or then we have the tack down stitch. But we need these to be separate colors so they won't stitch out all at once, because we're going to lay a piece of fabric down here, stitch it down, trim. We're going to lay a piece of fabric down here, tack it down, trim. Same for the last piece. So we need these to be different colors in order for the machine to stop. Because you think you can put all the 3 colors down at once. No, it's way too small. Your pieces of fabric are way too big for that. I thought the same thing, and it didn't work for me. So we're going to go to our line properties right up here, and we're going to go to our little piece of paper, and we're just going to use a running stitch, but I want you to select a color here. I'll start with green. It doesn't matter what color you use, but they need to all be separate. So the first one is green. I'm going to select OK, turn my bucket on and tap the first one, and it turns green. Now what I'm going to do is zoom in a little bit more so you can see a little bit better there. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is go back to my line properties and select a different color, maybe pink. I'm going to make sure my bucket's on and select the center one. Now we want to select this one. I'm sorry. We want to select our line properties and select another color, maybe purple. And I'm going to make sure my bucket's on and tap it. There we go. Now we have our 3, we can call it 1, 3, and 5 applique tack down stitches. You can save this at this point if you want to, it's fine. But I'm just going to select next. I'm not going to change any of the stitch length or anything. This is just a single double stitch there. So I'm just going to bring it on over to our embroidery side. So if you're on Altair Meridian or a Destiny, you're going to hit preview OK, set OK. If you're on a Solaris or the Brother Like machine, you're going to hit set OK, and it's going to drop directly where they need to drop. So what's going to happen, this is what's happening now. I'll walk you through the steps. The first thing that'll stitch out is this beautiful background stitch and the outline. The next stitch will be the placement stitch for all your applique pieces. But what we're going to do after that stitches out is we're going to lay down our piece for number 1 part of umbrella, and then it will stitch it down and we'll trim. Then next, it will go to the outer side one. Why it's doing that order, I'm not sure. I just let it do what it does. It'll go to the outside one, and we'll lay our fabric down. Then this purple is right here. This will stitch out next, and we'll trim around. And I'm doing kind of a raw edge. You can, at the end, if you want to put a satin stitch around it, you can, but I'm doing raw edge. And then lastly, to this point, it is going to do the center piece. So now what we want to do is we want to add the next two pieces. We're calling those 2 and 4. So let's go to add. And I'm going to go to IQ Designer. There's no question. And we're going to go and we're going to recall that top again. But we're going to, so that's going to be your second one here. But what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, what we're going to do is erase everything but 2 and 4. So let's grab our eraser and let's zoom in. Oops, that was too far. I'm going to do 400. And let's see, I can grab my little hand and I'm going to, so there's 1 and there's 2. So I'm going to come erase everything on 1. So I can grab this little guy and just kind of zoom around. Now, guys, if you leave any little speck, it will stitch out. So if there's like a little speck like hanging out over here, it will stitch out, I promise. So let me turn back on my eraser and I'm gonna kind of freehand it here. I may burn myself, and let me see if I can do it. I can't get that close. So I'm going to zoom in further. I'm up here and I got a couple little guys here, and then I want to get in here too, because that was 1, this is 2, so here's 2 and 4 over here, so I want to get in between 2 and 4. So let's grab our eraser and let's make it teensy weensy. So I can come here and get rid of anything that's hiding out over here, and that's, I still need it smaller. Get in there, get in between there. Okay. Now I'm going to go in between. I don't have to go in between anything. I need to clean off this little area up top here. That's 5. It gets confusing. So if you're confused, what I want you to do is zoom back out. Just take a look at, where you're at. So I've erased 1. I've erased the top of 3 and the top of 5. Now I need to come in here and get rid of 5. And then I'm going to go get 3 right in here. So just keep zooming in and out if that helps you. Now, would I call this advanced? No, I call this learning. The more you push your buttons on your machine, the more you're going to learn. I know right now it's still hard to get into classes. There are still some states that are, really haven't started classes back, and that's okay. There's great resources like the Baby Lock communities. There are other educators that are doing these free classes for you, so check them out. If you see, let's zoom out and take a look. So, I got a little, I can see this. I don't know if you guys can, but I got a little bitty hair right there I need to erase. But now I just need to erase in between 2 and 4. There are some great educators and Baby Lock educators. They're doing the same thing that I do. They do things on different days. Now Missy does it right after I get done with mine, basically. Mike Johns does his on Tuesday nights. Linda Bratine, never remember what day, but she does amazing quilting. Y'all need to join her group. Now I have all of these listed under the files section of all the people that you can learn from, because here's my thought process. You have paid a lot of money for this machine, or any machine that you use. And now I broke into that line, I need to go back. Or for any machine that you're using or you purchase, you spent your money and you should use it. Plain and simple. Use that machine, girl or guy. And there are so many people out there that are willing to help you learn how to use it. So that's why I love being a part of Baby Lock. Okay, So here's my 2 and 4. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to come up here to our line properties. We're going to change it to a straight stitch or running stitch. And I'm going to select different colors, not anything that I've selected before. So maybe this orangey color here. And okay, I'm going to turn on my bucket and I'm going to tap. She turns yellow. And thank you, Marilyn. I appreciate it. Then we're going to come here and do the same thing, but we're going to come back and we're going to select a totally different color. Let's do this blue and make sure my bucket's on and tap on it. Done with this part. So again, you can save this if you want to, or you could have saved it earlier. I'll save it since I didn't save it right beforehand, before we changed anything. Because you can go back and delete these, but saving is the best. If you lose everything, you'll be sad. Ask me how I know. Now what we want to do is select next. And we're not going to touch anything. We're going to just move on. So if you're on Altair, Meridian, or Destiny, we're going to do preview okay, set okay. And then if you're on a Solaris or Brother Like machine, we're going to select set okay. And those will lay on top of where they're supposed to be. So that is 4 and 2 and 4. 2 and 4 will then stitch out next. Almost there, guys. We are getting really close. Now we've got to work on the pole and the handle. We are going to do applique for the handle. So, which will be super cute. And then we're going to create our teardrop. I keep saying that. I mean raindrop. So now we're going to go to add. And we're going to go to IQ Designer. Now from this point, what we're going to do is we're going to go back up to our recall, and we are going to then recall the whole shebang, the whole one right here, because next what I want to use is the pole. And no, you know what? I'm not going to do the pole yet. We're going to use the handle, and that since I don't have it, I need to erase everything but the handle for our applique. So I'm actually going to just take out a big old hunk of this. So I'm going to go to my eraser and I'm going to make it, oops, get my square. We're going to make it really big so I can get rid of as much of this as possible before I get down to my. Okay, so here we go. See, I'm just going to start erasing. Kind of fun erasing. And I'm going to get down, you know, kind of low on my pole. I'll clean it. I'll clean up the little legs that are sticking out here in just a minute. But I'm going to try to get off as much as possible. And now I can shrink this down, back down, down, down. And then I'm going to zoom in and clean up that area. So let's zoom in. And I'm going to move it to where I can see it. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. And these two little guys I need to get rid of. So let's go to our eraser. And I've made it smaller. And I'm just going to bring it down and just be very careful. There we go. Let me, I can see something happen here. Got a little bit of a hole there. Ah, that's a big hole. Whew. So breathe when you're doing this. There we go. Whew. I'm going to lift off and now come over to the other. I'm going to breathe a little bit. And I need to leave one pixel. There we go. Nope. Wrong. Get one more. There we go. Ta-da. All right. So I'm going to zoom back out. And I'm going to change this guy to a straight stitch. Remember, it automatically comes in as a satin stitch. So we're going to go to our line properties. And we're going to select the running stitch. And we're going to select a color, one that we haven't selected before. And we're going to then select, oh, I'm sorry, we're going to select, I was about to say, our bucket, and tap on it. It should change color. That way you know what's happened. And what I want you to do right at this moment before we move on is select memory and save it. But I'm going to show you a cool little trick you can do in the embroidery side. Because right now, for this one, we just created the placement stitch. This isn't the tack down stitch, this is the placement stitch. So let's select next and set. And okay, if you're Altair Meridian, preview, okay, set, okay. All right, and there he is right there. Okay, so in an applique, what do we have? We have placement stitch. We then lay the fabric down on top. We have our tack down. And then eventually we have our fancy stitch that finishes it off, or your finishing stitch. So we've got our placement stitch. Now we need to make the tack down stitch. Now I could go all the way back out over to IQ Designer if I wanted. However, you can also just copy this one, change the color over here in embroidery, and put it on top of this one, and you've created your tack down stitch. And I'll show you how easy it is. So let's go to edit, and we're going to look for this key right here. This key right here is your duplicate. So let's select that, and it is square with a little diagonal line square. And it's going to create one just offset from that other one. Before I move it or anything, I'm going to change the color. So you have a little color chip guy right here. And I'm just going to go pick a totally different color. So maybe I'll come down here to this green here. Oh, you know what I did is I just changed the background color. You have to tell it where you want it to go first. So I'm actually going to come down here. There it is right there. I want to make sure I select it first. And then I can change the color. There we go. You can see it changed right here. Make sure you do that. It doesn't bother me that the background color changed because I can put on any color I want in the machine. So, but you want to zoom down, find the second. It's like a J, it's a handle, and change the color there. We'll then select OK. Now what we're going to do is move it directly on top of the first one. So we're going to zoom in. So you can zoom in to about 400%, and we're going to take the little hand or however you can pan around. Now this might be a little confusing because you're going to want to automatically pick it up and move it. But we need to make sure we're picking up the right thing. So if you're using a mouse, you want to make sure you're hovering over the correct J. Okay. Oh, it doesn't allow me. Oh, because my hand is on. So, and I'm going to click it. And now I can take it and move it on top of the other J looking thing or the handle. Now I'll know it's directly on top when I cannot see any of that red thread or the red color underneath. Now, if you are using, not using a mouse, you can just tap on it or use your select keys to get to that J and then move it, or you can use your move keys up here. I use my move keys a lot because it gives me more control. There we go. And now that's directly on top. And I've got my tack down stitch. Pretty cool, huh? So you can do that, or you could have went back to IQ Designer. Can use the magic wand. The magic wand is only in IQ Designer, Bonnie. So, and we're not in IQ Designer. We're in our embroidery section. But you could. Yeah, you could totally use the magic wand. That's only on the Solaris and IQ. But yeah, totally over there. Okay. All right, this is looking so pretty because it's like all colors and stuff like that. But we have a few more steps to do. So let's go to Add. We're going to go to IQ Designer. And we are now going to we're going to take our whole outline of our umbrella, and we're going to play with that now. So let's go to our recall button right up at the top. And we're going to pull up the one that has the whole body. So this guy right here. Let's tap on that. And we're just going to change a couple things. So let's say, okay. The first thing that we want to do is and this is up to you. If you want it to be a satin stitch all the way around, you can. You could have it as a candle wicking, but I'm going to do a triple stitch all the way around. This is going to be my finishing stitch, but there's a couple things I need to do. So the first thing that I'm going to do is come to my line properties, and I'm going to go to my little piece of paper, and I'm going to have it do a triple stitch. I just like the way that looks. It makes me happy. And remember, mine's going to be more raw edge. If you wanted a satin stitch around the outside of it, you're going to, you'll leave it as is. And then you can change the width of the satin stitch over in the next screen, which I suggest. But, you know, you want to make sure you cut really close to the lines too when you're cutting out your appliques if you're going to do that. Mine is cut kind of rough. So I'm going to select the satin stitch, and then I'm going to select a color. I'm not going to leave it black. I'm going to select a color, but I think I'm going to just do something really dark where you can't even tell. So like this dark green here, and say, okay. And then I want to turn on my bucket. Now at this point, everything's connected, meaning the lines are all touching each other. So I can touch any of the lines and this whole thing will turn into a triple stitch, although you can't see it. And how do I know? Because when I touch it, it knocks. The next thing I want to do is turn my pole into a full satin stitch. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. And this is so easy. So you're going to go to your fill properties right here. And we're going to make sure that this guy right here is selected, this very first one. And how do I know it's selected? It's because it's a blue color. And I'm just going to grab, like, let's say this gray color here. I don't want it to be black because if something has been black earlier, I don't want it to stitch out at the same time. Maybe it'll get confused. Usually that won't happen, but I'm very cautious about that. So let's say, okay. And then your design gets really light like it did earlier. You probably can't see mine. However, I know where I'm going to, first what I'm going to do is turn on my bucket. And then I'm going to lay down this type of stitching just in the little pipe part. I don't even know what that's called. And so watch this. When I click in there once, it'll turn dark. That means that's going to be a fill stitch right there. Ta-da! All right. So now what I can do is zoom out, and it's still really light. So what I want to do is, okay, there we go. Now I've got my dark outline back on. So now what we're going to do is create, y'all ready? The raindrops. Yay, this was so easy. Okay, here we go. The first thing that I'm going to have you do is something that just kind of seems like, why are you doing this? But I don't want an outline around my raindrops. I want them just to be completely satin stitch, so they're super cute and just kind of fluffy. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to come up here to our line properties even before we design them. And we're going to click on that little piece of paper, and we're going to select this little button right here, which is your no sew icon. So it is a zigzag with a red line through it. So we want to select that and then select OK. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go into our shapes. So that circle and square we used earlier, that's what we're going to use again. And look right there at number 13, the perfect raindrop. So let's take it and click on it and say OK. Now, of course, it comes in ginormous because that's what it does. So we need to shrink it down. And I actually did not write down what size we got it to. I just did it till I was visually happy with it. So I'm going to select size, and take my proportionally smaller key and just hold it down until it gets to about something I'm happy with. Now I'm going to move it over. I'm going to grab it and move it over so I can see better. And then what I did also is I took the sides and squished it in a little bit. So let's zoom in. Let's zoom into it. Let me find it. Where is it? There it is. So I took the sides and squished them in a little bit just to make them a little more, not so, you know, a little bit more skinny, I guess you could say. So I'm going to go back to size, and I'm going to use this key right here. This is my unproportional this way. So I just kind of tapped it until I was happy with it. There we go. So now she's a little more oblong, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I'm not good with shapes. And I'm going to zoom back out. And I think that's going to be perfect. So what I'm going to do is just scatter them around. But I'm not going to make each one by doing what I just did. We have a duplicate key. So I'm going to move this first one wherever I want. I wonder if I can zoom in a little bit more so you can see. Yeah, that's okay. You can still kind of see. So I'm going to put her right here, and then I'm going to copy her. Just like we did earlier, there's your copy key with your a solid line box and a dashed line box. So I'm going to tap on that. And there's another one, and I'm going to move it wherever I want. Then I'm going to select that key again, and I'm going to place another one wherever I want. And I think I had 4 over here and 5 over there. So I'll place another one maybe down here somewhere, maybe off the screen a little bit. There we go. I'm going to grab another one and start over here. Maybe a little higher for that little girl. And over here. And you might need to zoom out so you can kind of get an idea of where they're going. I was just zooming in so you guys could see it. So let's bring one kind of down here. I don't know. I'm not great with placement, but I'm kind of good. There we go. Okay, so now you can see my little raindrops falling down from the sky. Now, if I wanted to move one, all I would have to do is come to it, draw a box around it, and then move it wherever I want. So I can take a look and say, okay, well, maybe I want this little guy to come over just a hair because I have issues. There we go. Okay, that's better. So that's looking really good. So now I want to do the exact same thing that I did for the pole. I want to add a satin stitch to each of, I call it satin stitch, but a fill stitch to each of the raindrops, but they're going to be different colors. So, but 2 of them are going to be the same color until it works out. So let me go over here and let's grab maybe this blue here. And I'm going to tap on this one. Oops, what did I forget to do? Turn on my bucket. I'm going to tap this little guy and I'll tap this little guy. So they'll stitch out at the same time. I'm going to go grab maybe a pink and I'll do this little guy and this little guy. I'm going to go back and let's grab a green. And I'm going to do this little guy and this little guy. And what else have I got? I need to go back and grab a yellow. And I'm going to do this one. These next 2, I'll do purple. So let me go grab a pretty purple. Here's a pretty purple. And the last 2 are done. Ta-da! Now, what I have is I have the outline finishing stitch of my umbrella. I have the satin fill stitch, I have to say it correctly, of the little pipey thing, and the fill stitches of my raindrops. So now your full screen doesn't show. It's cut off a little on the right. Is it really? Okay, well, I'll move it like that. Is that better? Well, I had also zoomed in too, so that could have been when you were seeing it. Okay, so now I know it's hard to see, but watch this. Now we're going to go to next. It's so cute. I can't even with this. Now, to go back to the question of underlay. This one is highlighted on a fill stitch right here. Okay, this is a full satin or full fill stitch, meaning it's going to stitch everything right there. There is no actual underlay per se, but there is this little button right here that is called under sewing. So you can turn that on the Solaris. So it's not a huge underlay, but it does have something under there. So you can use that. But you could also change the density or the pull compensation as well. So you can change the pull compensation or the density. But the density can only go up to 110 or down to 90. So hopefully that helps. If you want a good, like thick underlay, you are going to have to do that in software. Now, I'm going to leave everything as is. I'm not changing anything here. So if you're ready, let's select either if you're on the Altair Meridian or Destiny, you're going to select Preview OK and Set OK. And if you're on the Solaris, let's hit Set OK and let's see what happens. Ta-da! There she is. She's all done. Now you could go back and select add and add words up there, like, you know, raining, good morning, sunshine. I don't know. You could add something about rain or whatever. But it's so cute when it stitches out. So, yay! Okay. All righty. Now what we're going to do is we're going to stitch it out. I have already, let me come over here, because I like to show y'all when it stitches out, everything to do. Now I have already stitched out my, let's turn this around. Now, you know what I'm going to have to do, guys? Give me a split second. I'm going to have to turn the screen around real quick. So you're going to see it maybe flip a little bit, and I apologize for that, but this is the best way to do it. Okay. Okay. And now I can turn, oh, that's better. Okay, there we go. Okay. So I've already stitched out. Look how beautiful that is, that fill stitches. I just love it. It's so stinking cute. So I've already stitched that part out, and I am now going to start with, let me get everything going here, because I had to, there we go. There we go. Gotcha. All right. Hopefully I've got it all sitting the way it should. Okay, here we go. We are going to, so the first thing that's going to stitch out is your background stitching. I'm going to change my thread color, and my outline of my umbrella is going to be black. So I'm just going to use black on those, on pretty much almost the whole thing until I get to the colored raindrops. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Now I'm gonna, and let me tell you, this is one I had to, or this is the one that I made earlier. And remember what I was saying, make sure you erase everything or you'll have a part that stitches out. This one that I'm about to stitch out will stitch out a little piece. So I'm gonna zoom through that by using my plus minus screen. And let it go where it's supposed to. There we go. All right, here we go. Now, again, I have my pieces that are already backed with webbing. And if you want to learn more about that process, you'll want to go to last week's video, because I talked about it and Mike helped me along with it. He had a great suggestion with, which I love to use, is the hot fix adhesive. I hate to call it webbing, but that's what I call it. And I'll get him to post some information on the hot fix on this group, so y'all can know where to find it or who to contact for it. It's really cool stuff. Now, the running stitch always goes over twice. We cannot fix that. So just let it go over twice. It's fine. All right, here we go. So now looking at my screen, it wants to do number 1 first. So I've already got my placement stitched down, right? So rather than do one little placement stitch at a time, we got the whole thing down. So I'm going to grab my first color. Let's do this blue. And I'm going to remove the paper backing. And I'm going to lay it down on top. There we go. And let it tack it down. Now you know what, I probably should have changed my needle from earlier, but we'll see. Gonna tack that down. And it'll go around twice, which y'all know I love. I kind of talked about this last week. When doing an applique, I like it to go around twice because when I cut, I have 2 times the thread to cut through if I accidentally cut through the thread. So I've got my applique shears. These are Quilter Select Wave scissors, my favorite. And I'm just going to take it off where it's closer to me and trim around. Now I'm leaving just a little bit of an edge on the outside. You do not have to do this. This is all raw edge. Applique is just, that's up to you. But when I go into the inside, I'm going to get it really close, actually. That's going to be covered up by another piece. So let's turn it around. Try to get it decent. There we go. But on the inside, I'm going to get as close as possible because there's going to be another piece on that, on top of that, and I don't really want, you know, a whole bunch of bulk there. And then I'll trim this little guy off. And I can clean it up later if I want to take more off, but look how already stinking cute that is. Okay, I'm already in love. The next one, remember I said it jumps over here to do this one? Why? I don't know. I'm just going to take my next piece. And you could do a full rainbow or whatever, but I'm just going to go completely random. Okay, get this backing off real quick. I'm sorry I'm not doing it in front of the camera. It's just kind of easier to do it over here. All right, you don't want more. There we go. We got it now. Okay, I'm going to lay it on there. And now if you need help, you can always get out your, I like the little side, mermaid one from Xander Shaw. So you can get this at the embroider shop with a P on the end of shop. Hopefully I got it in the right range. Yeah, there we go. Don't put your fingers in there. There we go. Spam you question. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to trim, and then we'll go to the center part. And then we're going to do green. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing where I'm just going to leave a little bit of an edge, and I can come back and clean that up if I want it a little bit closer later. Yes, I know. I know. I'm using my scissors backwards. Okay, so let's flip it around. And on the inside here, I'm going to get really close. There we go. I'm going to go and get a little sneaky off of that. The next part is going to be the middle. Slide it on, close the door. And I think I want to do the green. And oh yeah, let's do the green. Got this big old honking piece here. Rip off the paper backing. Lay it down. Now for this one, the only area I'm going to leave a little bit on is the bottom and the top, because I'll get real close in the inside parts. Okay. I love it already. All right, so I'm going to come in here. And again, like I said, I'm going to get really close on the inside because this is going to be covered up. And this will keep me from having too much bulk right there. Then let's just turn it. Let's just turn it easier for me. Oh, remember I said I wanted to get close. Yeah. All right. I think we'll live. We'll be fine. That little piece off, and now I'll come around the bottom. A little bit this way. Just leave a little hanging off. There we go. And now it's going to do number 2. So should I put yellow? Yeah, let's put yellow at 2, and then we'll put purple at 3. I mean 4, whatever, whichever one. All right. So cute. Now, here's the thing about the lessons I teach. Yeah, it's probably about getting done changing the needle. To me, as long as you're walking through the steps, you don't have to stitch it out. As long as you're learning something, you may hate what I do. You may not like this project at all. But if you're doing it, just pushing the buttons along with you, you're learning. So, okay, so now from here on out, or for 2 and 4, I'm going to still leave a little bit of a long raw edge because it'll cover over, or, like, I don't know. It's just cute if some of it has a little bit of hanging out. Getting back to what I was saying is that it doesn't matter if you like what you're making right now. If you're learning something on your machine and you're just pushing buttons, you don't have to stitch it out. You can just follow along and then erase everything in the end. But you're learning. Now, of course, if you do make it, I want you to post it because I want to see what you do. I love looking at y'all's work. Y'all know that. And so when you make something, I don't even care if it's this. I care you made a quilt, you made a hat. I don't, post it. I couldn't find any, well, in my bag of scraps. Didn't have a pattern purple. Did I? You know what? Now I'm thinking of something, but I don't think it'll fit in with these colors. So, okay, so this is the last piece here. So, moral to my story is just follow along, press the same buttons I press. And then if you like it, stitch it out. If you don't, it doesn't matter. You've learned something in the process. There we go. Perfect. Adorable. Okay. So next what's going to happen is, after I get this trimmed, is our little handle. Have a little cute blue piece. I'll do, no, the teal piece that I'm going to do. And again, I'm going to leave a little bit of a raw edge on this part. So it kind of adds some texture. It's so cute. Okay, I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, could you have added some fill stitching here? Of course you could have. That would have been darling. If you would have done it all white and done like different fill stitches, that would have been super cute. So this is going to be the placement stitch for our handle, and I've got a little piece here for my handle that is super cute. And then the next stitch will be the down stitch. Cute little piece of grunge there. What happened? Oh, I know what happened. I'm using it. All right. Nope. I'm moving it because I'm using the first one that I made. All right. And what will probably happen is I will just, because I did not group this first one that I made, I didn't group everything together, meaning the I keep wanting to say teardrops, the raindrops together. I'm going to skip stitching those out for you guys. And because I'm sure you've gotten an idea. Oops. But at least want to get through this part and the stitching of the last stitch. You can see everything. Oh, I didn't do a good job of trimming this out. But I do like the blue. I love them. Or the turkey boys. Well, it's turkey. This is a great trim out. There is nothing perfect in this world, so neither is my sewing. I do like a little bit. Okay, give it a better one. I'm really just chopping it up, really. All right, that's good. Here's my. I'm zooming through because I did it out of order here on the very first one, but I just want to get to the last stitch. Those were all my raindrops. There we go. And so this one is going to be the one that is finishes everything up, and then we can fill that in, but this will do a triple stitch. Now again, if you had cut everything really close, you could have done a zigzag satin stitch, and that would have been really pretty. So it's really up to you what you do. So that'll just take a moment. And of course, this says it takes about 15 minutes to stitch out, but we know we add about 15 minutes more onto that because we have to do our applique and we have to change the threads and all that. Still looks, could you, oh, wait, let's see if this gets some comments here. How about we'll do a Thanksgiving giveaway? It'll be let's see. I'll make an announcement, but since y'all are on here, whoever's left on here, we will do, you have to make a project from this year that we've done. So you'll just go back through the videos, find which one you want, and we'll do a Thanksgiving giveaway. And of course, we'll do a Christmas giveaway too. So I think that'll be fun. I need to find some cool giveaways. Maybe I'll see if I can get to some of my friends and see if they want to help out with it. Because we've had amazing partners give away. We've had Cage Bartlett, we've had Hope Yoder, we've had Evie Hawkins, we've had Sandra, we have had, you know, so many wonderful, and if I'm forgetting anybody, Mash Modern gave away some fabric one time. She's great. She just opened up a store where she lives. So there's, there's a lot of great people that have really helped me along and have been just wonderful to the group. So thank you. I like my umbrella. She came out cute. Now, the last thing I am going to stitch out is the center part, just so y'all can see. And then, but remember, because this is the first one I did, and I didn't do it in the order that we did our other one. I'm zooming through. It's all out of whack, but it doesn't matter. It all looks the same in the end. So just so you can see what happens with that fill stitch. There it is. It's just filling it in. Adorbs. And again, you can add lettering or, words. Great, Mickey. See, yeah, and I really love doing giveaways because people really get into it and they really make some beautiful stuff. And I really get to see, a lot of stuff because I really love seeing what y'all make. So, all right, we're going to call this one done for right now. I'll finish it later. I'll leave it in the hoop. I don't know, this would be cute pillows too. Oh, we're going to stop. This would be super cute pillow, right? Great for springtime, for April time. Let's put the video back on me. Oops. Yeah. Ah, there I am. Hello. Okay, so I love cute stuff. Just love, adorable. So I'll finish it up, and I don't know, I need to go to somewhere and get some wooden hoops. All I have are the plastic hoops and put these in because I think that'll be so super stinking cute. And just kind of hang them. Like I can hang more on these walls. I did hang my house up there. I did finish, I kind of messed up. I got a new credit card and they changed my number and everything, your debit card, and so I didn't get the Kimberbell the Me Time by Kimberbell Perfectly Pieced November kit. But this is my October kit, and I think y'all saw me working on it, and I did finish it, and I am waiting for a 18-inch pillow form. So this is going to be a pillow. How pretty is that? And I can't decide, maybe y'all can help me out with this, if I want to do a ruffled edge or just like a binding edge. I love ruffles, but I really don't think it calls for ruffles, but a ruffle is good on everything, but I might just do binded edge for this pillow, but it's so cute. I love, love, love their stuff. And so check them out too. We can talk about them. I don't know. Maybe there's something. Okay. Anyways, but I wanted to thank you guys again for coming. Really appreciate you all. You like binding? Okay, probably binding. Okay. All right, we got 2 bindings. Yeah. I got ruffle. I know. I love the ruffles. So I'm just like, I haven't done ruffles in a long time, but maybe another pillow calls for that. So, but that one, I don't know. It does look a little more modern. So maybe a ruffle wouldn't, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Knit binding. Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you all for coming again this Sunday. We'll be back next Sunday and usually a Saturday before I figure out what I'm going to do. So I think about it all week and then I'm like, well, you know what? And then I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, we got to think. All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming. I appreciate you taking your time out on this Sunday. It's finally getting cold. That means winter's coming. Okay, it'll probably be hot in the next couple days here. But so if you take time off from watching the videos, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Otherwise, I'll see you all next week. If you have suggestions, remember to just write them in the comments. We can always, I get a lot of suggestions and always forget about them. I need to start writing them down. But I hope you guys have a great week and thank you again for coming. If you need anything, holler and I'll come up with this contest idea. All right. You guys have a good one. And remember to shop local, shop small. It's very important. It's keeping the sewing industry alive. All right, everyone. Have a